Little Snow and the Seven Ducklings Wants. Upon a time in a small, cheerful village, there lived a sweet and kind girl named Little Snow. Everyone called her that because her skin was as soft and pale as freshly fallen snow. But what really made Little Snow special was her heart. She was always helping others. If someone needed help carrying water, she was there. If an animal was hurt, Little Snow would care for it until it was well again. But Little Snow's best friends were not people, were 7 little ducklings who followed her everywhere. These ducklings weren't just any ducklings, they were magical. Each one had feathers that shined in a different color: gold, silver, green, blue, red, white, and black. They were special guardians, blessed by the lake spirit to protect the village from harm. Stay close to Little Snow, the lake spirit had told them. If you are ever separated from her, danger may follow. One bright morning, while Little Snow was gathering wildflowers by the lake, a shadow crept through the trees. It was Morgana, a wicked sorceress who had heard about the magical ducklings. She wanted their powers for herself. "Those ducklings will be mine," Morgana cackled. Disguising herself as an old woman, Morgana waited for Little Snow to head home. Then she whispered a dark spell, causing the ducklings to wander deep into the forest. When Little Snow returned home, her heart sank. The ducklings were gone. She called out for them, "Goldie, Ruby, where are you?" But there was no answer. Little Snow knew something terrible had happened. "I'll find you," she promised, and set off into the dark forest. The trees seemed to close in as she walked. Strange sounds rustled from the bushes, and glowing eyes blinked from the shadows. Little Snow felt scared, but she kept going. "My ducklings need me," she whispered to herself. At last, she reached a huge castle covered in thorny vines. The air was cold, and the sky above seemed darker than before. Little Snow knew this had to be Morgana's lair. Inside the castle, Morgana stood beside a stone pedestal where the 7 ducklings were frozen in stone. "You'll never free them," Morgana cackled. "Only an act of true kindness can break the spell, and no one is that brave." Little Snow knelt before the frozen ducklings. "I'll save you," she promised. "You," Morgana sneered. "You're just a little girl." Little Snow ignored her and touched the stone ducklings. "I love you," she whispered. "I'll do whatever it takes to bring you back." Suddenly, the sapphire blue duckling glowed softly. Morgana's smile faded. "That's impossible. No one is that kind." Morgana tried to blow Little Snow away with a gust of wind, but the girl held tightly to the pedestal. Now the emerald green duckling began to glow as well. "I'll take their place if it means saving them," Little Snow shouted. The ruby red duckling statue shined next, and then the golden duckling joined in, filling the room with bright, warm light. "No," Morgana screeched. She shot dark magic toward Little Snow, but the golden duckling flapped its glowing wings, sending a beam of light right back at her. "Ah!" Morgana screamed as she was swept away in a burst of sparkling magic. The vines around the castle withered, the dark sky turned blue again. The ducklings slowly turned back to life, quacking happily. "You saved us," Goldie quacked, flapping onto Little Snow's shoulder. The other ducklings huddled around her, nuzzling her hands and chirping with joy. The lake spirit appeared in a swirl of mist. "Little Snow," she said with a smile, "your kindness, courage, and love have saved the day. The ducklings will always stay by your side, protecting you and your village." From that day on, Little Snow and her 7 ducklings were famous throughout the land. Together, they kept their village safe, and their adventures were filled with fun, laughter, and love. And so, Little Snow and her 7 ducklings lived happily ever after.